All right, good morning, good afternoon. It is Wednesday, August 19th. And as you see, it's just me and Joe Farrell today. And, I guess no one wants to join us. Maybe because Joe got so
Yeah.
excited for Hunter last week, everyone felt kind of like left out. So they don't want to join us anymore. But thanks for doing this, man. How's everything been for you?
Good. It's good. Crazy. Kids start school next week. So that's kind of crazy. But
I
uh
saw that birthday party recently, right? Was
oh
that?
yeah, yeah. They turned 7. So we had a little Pokemon little birthday party and had a lot of fun. Nothing too crazy.
I do want to say no, Joe was not late hider. He was actually, I don't know, he's being sneaky now. He actually he turns his camera on, but then he disappears then he becomes late. No, he was actually on time today. We were just talking story before we went live. Hold on, I'm just connecting to Joe's channel. But yeah, Ike is probably going to jump on next week. He couldn't make it today. Chris Webb also. Chris Webb is going to jump on Friday with Emily and I. But yeah, Joe, man, I see you putting on a lot of cool stuff on your platform. But definitely,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you want to talk about that a little bit, like what you're working
Oh
on?
yeah, as I just remembered, yeah, I teamed up with a young creator. She's like 22, just out of college, and started her own agency. She's helping me with some content stuff, and so what they've been doing is putting together some of the hooks and scripts and whatever. And I'm just filming some stuff, and so getting some more views on the platform. But and then like the actual clips from the interviews from Dallas, I'm not Dallas, Denver with Jeff and Suleika, they were taking over some of the short clips, and like the quality is better than when I was producing on my own, and I'm very happy with that. And so we're going to continue to kind of do that, and just try to raise the level of production on the platform. It's all about just showing people, hey, if you're in real estate, you're kind of, you're in your own little rare bird lane. Like there's not many people doing it, and if you're staying in the lane long enough, good things will happen. So that's the mindset that I have.
Yeah, and it's kind of going to be our first clip that we'll dig into today. But also, I did send you. I don't know if I actually sent you. So you are aware of YouTube monetization changing its rules early next year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how does that play? How does that play into what you're trying? You're trying to really hit that, you think, or is it just if you hit it, you hit it? But
Yeah, I've been thinking about it quite a bit, and I look at and the other thing too is if you have a YouTube channel, you have watchable hours that you can see in your dashboard, but then like you click on the monetization button on the app, it's like, okay, well, you only have, I might have 1,000 watch hours in 365 days, but like the actual qualified watch hours was like 200. So you have to be aware of that, and so like, okay, well, am I gonna be able to get 3,800 in like 4 months?
how come
Probably
yours is
not,
so different though? It's not.
because a lot of the views that come through on my channel are shorts that
Mm,
have been put out in the past. And I don't really, I mean, I've been putting out long form video, but more like podcast style, and like it gets 100 views, 20 views, 12 views. I mean, it's just kind of hit or miss. But I actually put out a video, just unscripted, just hand to face video, did it sideways so I could do long form. And it was like, okay, these are the 10 levers that you need to be aware of on pricing on a DSCR loan. So it's like, I thought about, like, okay, I'll do one video, see what happens. And I think it's gotten like 3 views, 2 views. But at the end of the day, it's something that it's an opportunity to have, okay, I've got a little bit of a time crunch to be able to do it. So I can knock out some more videos, put out some more instructional things. And it's a good, um, it's a good process to have that Rolodex of educational content. So I'm gonna just keep doing. Oh, I have one view on this 3-minute video.
one real view probably, but there there's Joel's channel. Definitely go, like I said, jump over there, subscribe, like, let it play, get the watch hours. They said YouTube is changing its rules early next year, so yeah, and you might, I mean, if you started, you might as well try hit it before it makes it a little bit more difficult, right? Definitely, it's
Yeah,
gonna like double the watch hours. But yeah, like you're talking about, just putting content out there, telling people what you're doing, and that's kind of what relates to maybe our first clip. I kind of let me share it real quick.
4 words that'll change your life. I do it anyways. Hired? I do it anyways. No support, I do it anyways. Scared shitless, I do it anyways. Afraid of failure, I do it anyways. Fear of rejection, I do it anyways. You don't build an amazing life or business or relationship by waiting for the perfect moment. You do it by showing up every day, regardless of how you feel, you do it anyways. That's how you win the game of life, with the mentality of I do it anyways.
All right. So what do you think about that, man?
I mean, it definitely hits home. It hits home for a lot of people that are on this channel in the comments. It's like real estate's hard. It's a grind, and it's such a slow game. You got to have vision, patience, perseverance, and and delayed gratification because the results don't always come.
Well, even like what you were talking about earlier, what makes you keep putting out content when, like you just said, you put something out and you got one view on it?
Belief that like at some point in time it'll all kind of the flywheel will get strong enough and enough momentum that things will get better and you'll be able to get over the hump and have more of a reach and maybe a better impact. So just and then also just knowing that the process, like if I don't keep doing it, then it's going to be harder to get back into it. So just there's not stopping, no matter how terrible one post might be.
Well, so I'm sure. Well, for like me, it's not even. There's like no real motivation anymore. It's more just like you're saying. It's just kind of a habit, discipline. I mean, are you still like motivated to put things out there, or is it like you're saying you're not that you're going through the motions, but it's now has just kind of become like a discipline for you?
Yeah, because I think it's I look at like my day and like in lending, just like many other jobs, you put on a lot of different hats, and every time you switch from one thing to the next thing, there's a cost to switch hats in terms of whether it be outreach or logistics or figuring things out. But all those switching of tasks takes a toll, and putting out content and then thinking of ideas to put out there, planning, executing, all that takes mental energy, and so I think for me personally, it's more just I'm just gonna just keep doing it and take the thought out of it because I need to conserve the energy for more dollar productive actions. And so like I made a choice to spend some expense dollars on a platform to help take the thought process out of it and just show up. Here's my time block. I'm gonna just knock this out the best I can, and then move on to the next thing. So to me, it's also just conserving mental energy.
Yeah, I'm not saying you. I think that is probably the hardest thing is when you start thinking about it too much, trying to figure out what you're going to put out there, right? So like you're saying, you hired someone or a company to help kind of take the thought process out of it, and that's kind of where I use the live streams for. It's once we have the recording, and it kind of goes in different directions sometimes, but that's why I kind of just try to find one thing to start off with, and then see where we go. But then now, as far as the clips, it's just whatever comes from it. And sometimes Gus, who's here, he says things that he doesn't want me to maybe put out there, but he says it. But hey, he put it out there, right? And Grant Cardone followed him. So I don't know if you know what the whole story is. We're going to that point. So a couple weeks ago, Gus mentioned who his unicorn interview would be with on his podcast, and he mentioned Grant Cardone, and it just so happened that when you do those Opus clips and all that, and it comes out with that was one of the higher rated ones. So of course I threw it out there, and I actually tagged Grant Cardone on it.
Yeah, I saw
so
that.
I tagged him, and then I believe Grant Cardone either messaged him.
They replied back from his account, and then it was like
yeah,
so and so.
Yeah. But the most updated Gus mentioned yesterday is unfortunately time wise, they're not going to be able to schedule anything right now, but they're definitely going to be in communications with Gus, and maybe down the road, he will finally get that interview set up. But it's just cool that, like I said, Grant follows him now, and even Zuber. So Zuber, I posted on X also, and tagged Grant Cardone, and Zuber's interviewed Grant Cardone before, so even Zuber reshared it and put Grant's an awesome guy. So even Zuber is trying to push for it a little bit, I'm sure. But yeah, we'll never know. We'll see what happens, right?
Well,
Hyder
that was kind of my comment in that chain was like, okay, have the vision to put something out there, because most people, you might think about it but just don't actually do it. Maybe you have the fear of, okay, what if they don't respond? I don't want to put myself out there like that. And it's like, well, you put it out there, you just never know.
Well, that's why I'm always trying to get Janelle on, just to share her story. And, like I told her, it's just, no one's good at it at first. I mean, I'm not good at it at all. And, you just practice it, and that's what it is. You just have fun with it and share your story. But Janelle's worried that she'll freeze up and have nothing to say. But I told her it's super chill, right? And, definitely we have a fun time doing this. But I want to read some of Hyder's comments here. He does make some great points here. So Hyder does say, as a retired commercial fisherman, that was what we lived. When I was warm and comfortable, I didn't want to get wet and cold on the back deck, but we did it anyways and without hesitation. Yeah, so I do it anyways, right? That was kind of what the main, or the 4 words, right, that the clip was talking about. Old guy REI, I'll also throw his merchandise stories, coming out with some very, very cool merchandise. He actually has kind of a collaboration going on with Zuber. So he has some one rental at a time, old guy merchandise. And I think he's coming out with some Dionisms. So he's been working with Dion. So that'll be coming out soon. But I'll throw his link in the chat shortly. But I say Joel is right. Sometimes it's hard when you don't get views. But if you don't keep going, it's guaranteed not to work. Yeah. Hey, James Hillis is here. I'll skip over Frank's comment of I'll become a firefighter. So I can just do YouTube all day. Jason is here. Now, would you say motivation is overrated, though?
I think that topic of motivation and discipline is, I don't think when you hear the terms, it's just thrown around so much that I don't think people really understand it or how it works. Because motivation comes and goes. Discipline, either you have it or you don't. And I don't think it's talked about enough that discipline is something that you can, or most people will grow over a long period of time. Like you grow discipline one little bitty habit at a time, one little bitty decision at a time. You may say, hey, you know what, I need to do X, Y, Z. And then that day you decide not to do it. And then that's an opportunity to have shame and discuss it with yourself. And then the next day, maybe you want to do 3 things and you used to do one thing more. It's like now you're falling forward instead of falling backward. And then now you have something to build off of to be able to do the next thing. I think, and maybe that's just my own journey. Just understanding that, like, okay, I'm going to have little bitty wins and I need to be able to spend time appreciating the little wins and focusing on those wins. And that's the one thing Tony Robbins talks about is change your story, change your state. And what you focus on is what becomes your reality. And so you can choose to focus on the positives, even though you may have a lot more negatives. But if you focus on the positives, then you have an opportunity to be able to roll forward.
Yeah, sorry, I skipped over one of Hyder's comments. He says, yeah, agreed, Mark. Live streams are easier than structured video. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a lot more fun. I like seeing a lot of the comments come through, and everyone has a fun time throwing their little jabs in there, right? Too. So definitely, it's a fun time, especially when Gus and I gets a little interesting towards the end. But I guess another thing too, and I don't know if you struggled with it in the beginning. Did you ever feel like you're waiting for the right time to start all your platforms, as far as the podcast or even social media in general?
Like along the way in general, or just like in the last 4 or 5 years since I started? What do you mean?
Well, yeah, like when you started, I mean, your social media presence, I guess. Did you just start putting stuff out there, or did you actually kind of wait? Like it took you a while to actually
post it was like thing? For me, it was just like oh shit, like my industry is getting hammered. I saw the writing on the wall of a lot of things changing, the old things not working that would work in our industry to be able to run a business. And I'm like, I just gonna have to put out content. And actually, if you give me a few minutes, I can kind of share. There was one video that was the turning point. Is a video talking about The Rock and how he, was a great wrestler. He, was a movie star, but he had one of the best launches of an alcohol. I think it's called Teremana tequila, and he had the most sales in the first year of launching a spirits brand. and the video is talking about, well, what does The Rock know about running a launch for alcohol? What does The Rock know about tequila? Like all these things, like he doesn't know shit about it, but he spent the last 20 years building his brand over and over, and all the reps and all the compounding. And with that brand, you're able to turn a product launch into billions of dollars. And so I'm like, okay, well, I mean, maybe I need to think about that as a project to work on. So like the next day, I just started planning, thinking, and then I started the Strive for 25 podcast, which now I'm over here. So yeah, for me, it was just like a oh shit moment.
Well, one day it's gonna be what you can sell ice to an Eskimo. It's gonna be, you know, Rock can sell shampoo, right? That's gonna be the next one, right? 'Cause
Right.
he's bald, right? And he has this hair shampoo product now, and that's the the meme out there around. Yeah, I see Brady tuning in. Brady was also a guest on Gus's Behind the Doors episodes. Not sure when that one's gonna drop, but Brady's someone you should get on your platform if you have a chance. Joe, he's out in Wyoming.
Wyoming?
Yeah, so doing new builds and stuff. So got some great information out there. But Hyder says your clip Joe was on fire talking about motivation and discipline. Hey Frank, if you're still here, can you also check the link that I put in the chat for you? Is that the correct link you said for your merchandise store? Frank also says, if and when you realize anyone sees your stuff and replies, it really helps my motivation to keep going.
Yeah, that's the one thing, especially like, you know, across platforms. Facebook is one where I've had the most views, and I will see somebody out and about in town, and they will never respond. They will never reply. I mean, Mark, you and I have talked about this many times, but they see your stuff on your feed, but they don't interact in any way that's noticeable. So yeah, when somebody actually replies, it's like, oh yeah, okay, let's a little bit of confirmation to keep on going for sure.
Looks like Brady says his episode is going to drop Friday on Behind the Doors. So definitely everyone go check that out. To that point, though, what would be your breakdown of each platform? So I think you're like me, where you kind of put the same thing on each platform. How would you break down? How would you describe the different platforms as far as maybe audience wise?
Audience wise, yeah, I mean, YouTube is, I think, very, very methodical. People that will watch, they're not many people are going to respond, I don't think, on YouTube. Facebook, you have more opportunity for stuff going viral, and random strangers just commenting on a random topic. Like I think it was Ike who made a comment of are you Joel, are you reposting your own tweet?
Oh,
I'm
you
like,
know what? Hey, anyone here still watching in the chat? Do you share your own tweets or posts? Yeah, Ike was giving Joel shit about that.
I think it's hilarious because like, well, that's part of the game. Like, because I started thinking like I would put a post out that's just a random, you know, good question financial topic on Twitter, and then just repost it to Facebook. And one of my processes is that I will tag it into multiple groups that are either real estate related or finance related, and that helps with your reach. And so random topics will just go viral. So it's like if I'm gonna put out all these posts of other people, I might as well share my own shit. That's, I think, worthwhile every now and then. So that's what I started doing.
All right. So well, okay, going back. So what would I mean?
Oh,
what is Instagram? How would you describe Instagram? I guess followers or viewers.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like Instagram is like more bots and like you have, especially companies that are getting, or people who are paying a company to run their platforms. It's like all bots. Like you have random people in Timbuktu that are gonna share it to their story, and you know, and maybe not even you have like 300 shares to your story, but like no comments, and you might have like 10,000 views. So it's like the views are there, but like there's not really any engagement or you know, true collaboration. So I don't know. I think Instagram is more fake. Facebook is a lot of old people. So if people are commenting, it's probably real people.
Gus just said Facebook is the best, and then Ike has a comment. He says screenshotting instead of just resharing was wild. Hey, Joe V is here. So Joe V, I saw he bought his tickets and he's got his hotel room set up. So he will be in Vegas for the first time at the ORAD event in January. If you haven't got your hotel room yet, there is a coupon discount code pinned in school. It's for the Downtown Grand. It has been updated. The last link was working and then something happened. So Jen had to go get it updated. So there's a different link in there, but the same instructions, I believe. Oh, yeah, actually, you know what? Check the instructions. I believe you have to go to a certain link to sign up now. Gus also says YouTube is better for your core fan base. James Hillis, motivation and discipline are a lot like real estate. It depends on your location. What off you're a prison bee? What off your prison bee? Not quite sure what you're saying, but what off your prison bee? James, if you're still here, maybe update that. Gus says IG has a lot of make and believe shit that real shit gets lost. Frank took it personal when he mentioned Facebook. He says old people,
like us old people.
All right, so Joe and Gus, you're being called out right now. Joe V is asking, will you guys be in Vegas?
Yeah, I definitely will be.
Right.
Gus wasn't in Vegas last time, right?
No, so I saw Steven from the Bronx here earlier. So Steven and Gus both joined school probably around the same time last year. So maybe when was the event? The event was in February. So maybe towards the end of last year. So the timeline kind of just didn't work out for them. It was a little rushed. So Gus and Steven from the Bronx didn't make it, but they'll both be there this year. I think they're both just trying to figure out. Oh, Gus says yes. Him and his wife. He said his wife said she is coming. So
cool.
Very cool. Yeah. Let's see. What else we got here? What is okay? So what is worse though? Do you failure or rejection when it comes to like maybe social media or putting content out there? Like, are you worried about how much views you get, or are you worried for like pushback kind of stuff?
Yeah, like I think they're kind of two different sides of the same coin, maybe in terms of just dealing with shit that you have to get over. I don't know if I would say one's worse than the other, but because you have a lot of people that make shitty comments, and it's like, okay, you're just a troll. Like your comment doesn't even really make sense. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so that part doesn't really bother me, but like, when you put out videos and you have like, a small amount of views, you start to think, okay, well, do I need to be tweaking things? What else do I need to be doing? And then there's only so much time in the day. So it's just like the traction and the views, I think, is the failure in that regard. I think it's, for me personally, it's like, okay, what do I need to be doing differently? And it's like, do I want to spend more time on what I'm already doing? And that's a battle for me.
So just want to so Marlon RE is asking. So yes, this over the weekend, the islands were hit by had hurricane warnings and then big storms and winds. And fortunately, where I'm located, the only thing I didn't have power for almost 24 hours on Sunday. There's still some areas that don't have power out here, but as far as where I'm located, no major damage for kind of my area, but definitely different parts of the island. I'm on Oahu, so different parts had some bad situations, but definitely Hilo, other islands got hit really bad. So usually that's how it happens, because usually the way it travels, it hits those islands first and then kind of dissipates. But knock on wood, by the time it gets to Oahu, a lot of it too is because of the higher mountain ranges in the other islands. So by the time it gets, sometimes it kind of splits off in a sense. So
the weather pattern goes from east to west out there.
No, west to east. Yeah. Wait. Yeah.
You said Hilo, isn't that on the Big Island?
Yeah, but that's further down. Wait, northeast. Well, south to north, I guess, in a sense, or south to So it comes that way, kind of. So it kind of hits the mountain ranges and it kind of breaks off. So that's why we don't get hit as bad usually. So by the time we got a lot of rain and winds, but certain parts of the island definitely got hit bad, and it's more the power grid that. So some parts, they still don't have power, I believe. Let's see here. Delroy, this is not a question for us, but he's asking, will Gus be a special guest speaker? I have not heard anything about that. I do know so far Emily is speaking day one. I know Henry Washington is one of the speakers. So as of now, Coach Carson, Jonathan Twomley is speaking. Scott Trench, I believe Rich Somers is speaking. I saw some other names. I'm not sure if they're confirmed yet, but that's who I see so far. Frank says it matters who's rejecting you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, if you get feedback from somebody in some way that's not positive, that's an opportunity, right? I mean, if they're rejecting you, okay, well, what do I need to be doing differently? What do I need to be working on? What I need to be better at? And it's easy to let the emotions take over and just get down on yourself. But if somebody's ahead of you, and they don't respond to your message, or it depends on what's going on. Like, you may reach out to somebody that's ahead of you and they don't respond to you or talk to you. It's like, okay.
Yeah, Joe says Mark is short. The hurricane will go right over him. Hyder says Coconut Wireless is working. Well, yeah, for me, fortunately, it's best back, but definitely parts of the island are still not. I believe. I don't know if it's true. I saw somewhere. I believe Elon was offering free Starlink for people that don't have internet right now currently. So I don't know how that works, but I believe I saw that on social media. Craig does say we do know Gus is special, and James Hill says easy on the old. But he's called Facebook for old people. That's why. I don't know. Well, I don't know if that was your exact words, but they think people are taking a little personal. Well, okay. So do you think do it I do it anyways can be terrible advice in some ways? I mean, so should people when should people pivot possibly, or maybe do they just keep pushing through, or so could that advice be bad?
I mean, I think that's more the secret in the sauce. It's an art, not a science kind of a thing. Because like you could be pounding your head on something for weeks, months, and not getting traction, and you can say I'll do it anyways, and say, well, maybe we need to pivot. But I look at that more like, hey, it's late at night, and I know I need to do X, Y, Z, and I'll do it tomorrow, rather than I'll do it anyways, no matter how you feel. I think that's more, I think, what my interpretation of that is, what he's getting at. But still, it's like, especially when we're talking about social media, it's like you're not going to have results right away. So what do you tweak? What do you do differently? So I think it's a hard line.
I see Hugo tuning in, stay winning. He said he's watching from Joe's channel, get the watch hours. Hyder says free Starlink is awesome marketing, tax write-off, and a show of good faith during disaster relief. Yeah, absolutely. And it shows also, what your product can do, right, in these type of situations, right? So definitely. James, what if you're a prison birch? Let's see. Yeah, I think that's the one thing. I mean, pivoting. When to know when to pivot or what. I guess it ultimately kind of depends to what your goals are, right? Like what you're trying to get out of it, right? Definitely some people are trying to build a brand for a certain reason, and that's why for them it's good to continue with what they're doing, but it definitely that's a tough one, because honestly, I mean, I see you trying all different shit all the time. So is it more? No, I mean, right? So you just mentioned earlier, right? You have the Strive for 25 side, and now you have the Lending for Entrepreneurs YouTube, right? So is it, do you think you would have been better off just focusing on one, or there was reasons?
I mean, I feel like I would be in a better position if I would have made the change sooner. Because for many reasons. But then it's like you hear all these gurus online. I think this was Ty Lopez talking about how, yeah, like I know about this guy and he was struggling with this thing, and then he decides he's gonna sell some products to women who have menopause, and now he's making $1.5 million a month, and like they make it sound so freaking easy. It's like, well, shit, I could probably sell some menopause products for aging women. And it's like, do I switch and like allocate some hours to that? Maybe that could take off and work, or do I just keep going with what I'm going when I'm working on try to build a platform that I can, help more people and build more connections that will all feed itself over time. I don't know, but that pops in my brain all the time. Like, well, maybe I'll just try this thing.
James Hillis says, "What if you're a prison bird? Motivation and discipline have different outlooks." Motivation and discipline have different outlooks. I'm trying to wrap my head around what he's trying to.
I don't know what a prison birch is.
Well, I think he's trying to keep it clean on YouTube.
Okay.
Motivation and discipline have different. Let me think about that for a little while. I see Victor here. Would you say so? What's the difference between persistence and stubbornness?
I don't really know. I know me personally, like, and I've been told, yo, you're just being a stubborn bitch. In a very
Goes being clean on YouTube right there.
Oh yeah.
No. Go ahead. I don't care.
But like in my industry, most realtors, most lenders are gonna be local. They're gonna focus on their local market. And my journey took me down a much different path where I have clients in all parts of the country. And lending real estate, it goes in cycles, ups and downs, and I've been doing this for literally 20 years. So I've been through many different cycles and had to reinvent myself in different ways. And so friends of mine along the way, it's like, well, just go to an open house locally, just go hit up realtors locally. And it's like, that's just not been what I've done. And so like, oh, you're just being an ignorant BI. You're just being stubborn.
Oh, you can say, well, no. Gus says way worse stuff on Tuesdays.
Yeah. So I don't know, like similar, different, persistence versus stubbornness. I don't know.
Well, I think that's kind of, so Frank is asking, how long do you work at something before deciding that you should pivot, right? I mean, that's kind of the same thing. It's like, and I think a lot of that relates to even like real estate, right? We keep hearing the first 5 years suck. It's a 10-year journey. But not everyone makes it to 5 years, and not everyone gets to the 10 years. And it is a struggle sometimes in the beginning. And sometimes you're just questioning yourself, like, man, is it ever going to get better? Is it ever going to change? Like, at what point do I cut my losses, right? So I think that's part of it. And it's something that we all struggle with, right?
Yeah, and I think the mental side of things comes into play too. Like, I'm not sure if anybody's played baseball along the way, but like baseball is a lot about fluidity and whip and letting your natural athleticism take over. And the harder you try, the more you focus or tense up, especially as a hitter, the worse you're going to be. So you're trying to balance like that focus and energy with also being relaxed as well. And when you focus on one thing like real estate, right, a lot, and you focus on the product, the strategy, the expenses, like you might be missing other things too. And I keep talking about increasing income. The increased income is a different part of real estate, but you focus on one thing to take pressure off of the other thing. And real estate, if you're focusing and need real estate to make money for you, to cash flow, then you're in a bad spot. You got to go make money elsewhere, dump it into real estate, and let that just do what it does.
Hyder says, I see the difference between persistence and stubborn. Persistence is calculated. Stubborn is more blind. And Jovi adds in, I think to that point, stubbornness is letting your pride get in the way. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely. Hugo says I just posted that on average it takes 6 years for your mortgage payment to be at or lower than
Oh,
the
damn.
rent in that market. What do you mean in that market? In your market? I think that's what he's saying. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think who was it? Zuber just interviewed. Oh, yeah, he was on with Ryan Pineda and Brian Davila. So definitely go check that out on Ryan Pineda's channel. Oh man, Zuber had to hold back. Can tell quite a bit. But definitely they talked about it a little bit too about yeah, actually Grant Cardone too talks about Renter Nation, right? We're definitely he believes we're heading down a Renter Nation path, right? Because I believe now every 50 states, right, everywhere it's cheaper to rent than buy. I believe the last I saw someone post. So definitely, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people home ownership is not what it once was. I don't know, right? Mark agreed. No, I'm stubborn. I'm not going to agree with you at all, Joe. Never. Hey, Jen is tuning in. I tried to get Jen on today, but she's driving, so she won't be joining us. But Jen's doing a lot of great work, getting the discount code for the downtown grant. So everyone needs to thank her. Lynn, good video yesterday. Are you talking about the Zuber one with Ryan Pineda? Yeah, definitely. Like I said, if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. I don't know if they are setting up the stage for the ORAD event and getting things riled up and getting the momentum of Brian Davila possibly being there. But it'll be interesting. If you stayed all the way to the end, you kind of heard him call the Three Amigos girls. But yeah, and he called Lumberjack Landlord the lazy lumberjack, and he just mixing names up, and he basically called them a bunch of girls and things, and why does Zuber do that to himself? Jen, come on, you know why? It's all for reaching a different audience. Zuber took a stance on multifamily. Elaborate on that a little bit more, Lynn. You mean the big multifamily space? Yeah, he definitely was. I don't know. I forget. I mean, I'm not sure what you're trying to get at by he took a stance on multifamily. Jen said, yeah, he went on for them to call him old and on an ego trip. Kind of. So Joe, I don't know if you probably didn't watch it yet, but so part of Zuber's mission, right, that he wants to do is, he's always said that he wants to be remembered kind of 50 years after he passes, right? Whenever that time is, he wants to be able to like have a reach 50 years where people remember him, right? And they kind of just told him like, you're crazy. Like, no one's gonna remember you. And he kind of got upset at Davila. Like, he's like, dude, that's pretty insulting. But he basically, Davila told him, nobody's gonna remember you, kind of thing. I mean, he didn't mean, I don't know, he didn't mean it, I think, in a harsh way, but he just meant it kind of like, he's like, dude, Kobe Bryant passed away, whatever, 6-7 years ago, and younger kids now don't even know who he is. So and then he's like, Kobe Bryant has, X number of impact, and people don't even know who he is. So he's kind of like, they're not going to remember what you've done, Zuber, kind of thing. But but then Zuber's like, but this is what I want to do, and that's kind of to this whole point of, I do it anyways, right? So Zuber has this vision, this passion and mission. That's what he wants to do, and he's going to just do it, right? And it's more for a personal reason, right? It's not like if nobody remembers him after 50 years, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure, yeah, he's going to be gone if that means, but I'm sure it's not going to. He doesn't sleep, keep him up at night. Like nobody's going to remember him. I think it's more like he just wants to leave something, and that's what he's working towards, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously not knowing the full conversation, but to tell somebody no one's going to remember you, like you can apply that to any arguments. Like, well, why do you go to work? Why do you work hard all day? Why don't you just like be at home and get food stamps and SNAP benefits? Like that type of logic you can apply to anything, and that would like deter somebody to do anything that's hard. So it's like that's just such a weak argument that I would be upset if someone said that to me. No shit, motherfucker. Yeah, no shit, dude. No shit.
So James Hillis says, if there isn't a community supporting you, it's hard to keep the motivation and discipline going. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I appreciate you guys quite a bit, except Joe V. But I appreciate you guys for always tuning in. And you guys that do the lives with me, like you, Gus, Cody, Emily, right? I appreciate all you guys coming on. Lynn says, he said he doesn't believe you can make money with single family rentals.
I mean, it's probably harder to, but I mean, just look at Suleika and Jeff. Like they're doing their own thing with house hacking, and now they're into like sober living and rent by room, and like it's more challenging, but doesn't mean it's not possible.
Josh Burdick, yeah, definitely, yeah, go watch it. It's definitely very entertaining. Definitely, like I said, stay to the end. That's kind of when he called them a bunch of girls, and then Zuber's like, you're talking about a SWAT officer and like former Marine. He's Brian DeVille is like, no, I'm not questioning their profession or anything, but they're like, he goes, they called me ugly and all this stuff. So like, so that's what I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. Supposedly he's supposed to be there in Vegas, Brian DeVilla. So we'll see what happens. Jen says, I think Brian wants to get on stage in January. Well, supposedly him and Lumberjack are supposed to have a debate. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but it sounds like it. Jen says, I think legacy is different from ego. Ooh, how it was. So would you say that's different, legacy and ego?
I mean, I think it dovetails into the same, into this, it merges into each other, really. I mean, it's hard to differentiate when you get to the core of it.
You know what was interesting? They actually made a great point, though. And they kind of told Zuber, though, you need to write a book to be remembered. Because if you look at over time, like, like, of course, the Bible, and there's like Napoleon Hill book, and, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's how people get remembered over time. Because like YouTube, people are probably not going to find your videos down the road. Social media, right? Your platform was not going to probably be there. But he said if you write a book, so they're kind of like, Zuby, you should write a book that's more general, because they told me your one rental at a time book is probably not going to be relevant 20 years from now. Like that way of investing or that format is not going to work. So they're kind of like, you should write a book that is more overall, maybe impactful in a different way. And that's probably will be your legacy kind of thing. So that's kind of, that actually kind of makes sense though. Josh Burdick says, my kids hear me listen to Zuber, they will think back and remember. Yeah. Joe V says, yes, new kids don't know Kobe. Hell, Gus doesn't know MJ. But it's not about the new kids knowing him. It's us remembering what he did for us and passing it on. That's the 50-year legacy.
Well, I think talking about legacy and like YouTube, people are going to find you. There's lots of people that may be talking about topics, but it's about, in my opinion, it's doing something that no one's ever done before. If you can do something that no one's ever done before at a high level, at a large volume of output, then you can potentially put yourself on the map. And so, talking about, hey, I want to reach XYZ amount of people to help them or help people reach wealth. I mean, maybe people don't care, but like if you can help a lot of people, turn the page, do things that other people haven't done before in some way.
Oh, Chris Webb is tuning in, so he'll be joining us Friday because he couldn't join me today. So he'll be joining me and Emily on Friday. Jen, I agree. Me and Jen were thinking about the same thing. She says, I did like their comments about writing a book that could apply for decades, because they said his doesn't necessarily apply anymore. Yeah, it definitely, I agree with that. Hey, Janelle's here, who's still avoiding me, trying to come on. Definitely trying to get.
What's up, Janelle?
Yeah, man. She posted. I believe she just sold her condo. She posted it on Instagram. They sold their condo, and a lot of things she learned. Like definitely, she would do things differently if she knew different information. But that's how you get started, right? But now it's going to be the next piece to use on the next acquisition, right? So definitely trying to get her to share her journey. But Gus says Brian plays a character on there. You can tell. To me, it's kind of annoying, and I don't really watch unless Zuber's on or someone else I respect is on there. But when I'm watching, I remember why I don't. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, he has his role there, definitely. But like I said, it'll be interesting because Dion says he communicates with Brian Davila, like to chat with him, like, hey, what's going on, kind of thing. So yeah, I think he definitely plays a character or has his role. He knows what works. But I think Zuber was kind of taking some stuff personal and getting kind of irritated. Yeah. Jen says, Joel, love it. I will say no shit MF to everyone now. Hugo says, if my next flip sits on the market for too long, it will become an assisted living. Ah, interesting. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know all the rules. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of hoops to jump through for that. It's all hard. Kyle Dorn is here. It's all hard. Might as well pick the hard that has a reward or impact to others. Oh yeah. Janelle. Okay, Craig says here is a shot. If you can't stay motivated without community, then you have the wrong goals. Not saying community isn't fun though. Ooh, what would you say to that, Joe?
I would say that if you're motivated consistently on your own, that's great. Not everybody's like that though. Not everybody has that makeup. So I think it's a personal thing in all reality. Some people need it more than others, I think, for the reminders, the energy, the transfer energy, which I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think. Well, that's the thing, right? I think after a while, there's not really motivation there with community or without. It's not even about being motivated. It's just kind of about being. It's kind of more to the point, like you're saying, what the goal is, right? And that's going to be what kind of makes you continue what you're doing, right? So, and I think that's why, even for us, like we're saying, it's not. I don't know. I'm not like motivated anymore. It's just fun already. To me, it's just fun, and it's just like. I don't know. It's just part of my day now. It's kind of like how Zuber built his platform. It just started becoming this. It's like talking to friends, right? Like I don't talk to you all week, but like, hey, here's my time to connect with Joe and shoot the shit and see what's going on, right? So, let's see. Yeah, Frank says they better put Matt in a different room. Yeah, we'll see what happens, man. I haven't heard anything, but supposedly I was supposed to be like the moderator for that, but I don't know. Nobody told me anything else on that, so we'll see. Josh Burdick says Brian Davila blows a lot of smoke and doesn't get the average people Zuber appeals to. Yeah. Trade better, Harrison's. I would say legacy is driven by ego. We get reminded many times that nobody cares. Do you think AI Second Brain will be the new book for successful people to create and charge people for access? Wait, hold on. I gotta read. I would say, okay, wait. Do you think AI Second Brain will be the new book for successful people to create and charge people for access? I'm trying to wrap my head around what he's asking.
Is that a book that's already out? AI Second Brain?
Do you think AI? No, because he's saying to create. He's saying to create successful and charge people for access. I don't know. I gotta think about that. Yeah. See, Jen wants to hear Janelle's story. I think a lot of people want to hear Janelle's story. So put on your, I don't know, big boy pants or whatever.
Getting called out. Damn.
He needs a real haircut. Are you talking about Brian Davila or Ryan Pineda? I don't watch. Yeah, Josh also says I don't watch unless Zuber's on there. Chris Webb says 100%. This is based on personality, and some people cannot see what motivates the behavior of others. Think of this system motivation for I is much different than C's. All right, you're gonna have to maybe explain that on Friday, Chris. Okay. I did want to bring up. Man, we're at 15 minutes already. I want to bring on this other clip. So someone sent it to. Well, I'll just say who sent it to me because he's here. Kyle Dorn's here. So I'm gonna share this clip. But hold on, let me just read Lynn's comment real quick. I definitely think legacy is driven by ego, but I think we are making having an ego a bad thing. We all have one. Oh, well, what about you? Would you agree with that? Do we all have an ego?
For sure. And I think you got to have the ego, you got to have humility and forgiveness with yourself amongst others. You got to have both. And it's a duality that you have to constantly flip back and forth to be able to reach your goals, because you can't have all of one. You have to have some of the other in many situations, in my opinion.
I think as you get older, I don't know. Maybe you go through phases. So maybe because Zuber is thinking of a legacy wise. Because I don't know. I think there's a point where there's not much ego. Maybe in that middle part a little bit. Maybe when you're younger, you have ego, right? You're trying to and then you kind of get into this portion of whatever's. And then maybe towards the end, you start looking back and like, oh, you know what? I want to do these things maybe before I'm done, or I want like be remembered. So then ego starts. I don't know.
I think I guess my take on it is more like thinking about Kobe, giving a Kobe reference again. Like, I'm gonna beat you to the gym for practice. I'm gonna be there at 4:30, and the rest of the team's gonna be there at 9:00. And now he did it for himself, right? He wasn't trying to beat the other guy per se just to get to the gym. He was trying to be there because he knew that if I put in 2 extra sets of practice, I'm gonna be putting him in more time and effort, and I'll be way better than you. Well, why does he want to be way better than everybody else? Why is it that important for him to be that all in on the game and not like have more relationships or more just other time to be peaceful? And I look at that as more ego driven. Like, I want to go be the best. Like, that's very ego driven. What does that matter? But what does it matter? And so,
well, I think maybe because unfortunately his time was cut short, so maybe we didn't see that period of no ego, right? So we saw the majority of his playing career, and like I said, his time was cut short, so we didn't quite see that little maybe in between phase of where it was just like he kind of just disappeared in a sense, and then like maybe he would find something to have the ego again, like, oh, you know what, now I got it back, and I want to do this, and I want to do, but I don't know. I feel like there's a period where you're kind of just like, shit, I'm just good. Like, it's like whatever, you know, I'm just chilling, and I don't know. I don't want to say I don't have an ego, but I feel like I don't at this point. But I don't know. Yeah, shit. I want to bring up that other clip. Hold on. Craig says, I don't care what your social style is. If you are hungry, you will find food. If you are not hungry, you won't have a pressing need to do so. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Chris Webb says, good point, Lynn. Yes, we do. And ego can be a great driver for impactful products and services. How many people say I can do it and create a great item? Janelle said, didn't want to mention it in my post, but it was the HOA I couldn't take anymore. I still have one more condo to sell there. This group motivates me, and I'm excited to see what my next buy will be. Terrific. I will see you next Wednesday, and we can talk about share your story on the live stream. Gus says, if you do things at an elite level, you have an ego. That's not a bad thing. Those people are just built different, and most may not understand. Yeah, that's true. I want to bring up this clip real quick. So like I said, Kyle Dorn. I actually had it already saved, but then Kyle Dorn also sent it to me on Facebook, so I thought it was an interesting one. But let me share it real quick.
My kids don't get an allowance. They send me invoices. And before anyone gets upset about that, let me explain how it works in my house. Chores don't pay. Nobody pays me to do the dishes. You live here. You help. That's family. But my kids do get paid for other things. If you read a book and sit with me and tell me what you took from that book, that pays. If you do something that scares you, that pays. If you bring me or your mom an idea, a real one, where you thought about it, who it helps, and what it costs, that pays best of all. Because here's what I realize about allowance. It teaches a kid that money shows up on Friday because they exist. That's employee training. And it starts at 7 years old. Nobody teaches kids that money follows value, that you get paid when you make something better for somebody else. So my wife and I flipped it. My kids negotiate with me now. They're learning to ask for more and back it up. My daughter, she countered me last month and she was right, so I paid. I'm not raising kids who wait to be paid. I'm raising kids who send the bill.
So how old are your twins again?
7 as of today.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Happy birthday. Mine just turned 11 about a month ago.
11.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. What was your quick takeaway? I don't know how much time you got, but what was your quick takeaway on that clip?
Yeah, I mean, I love you're just flipping the frame. I don't think he explained exactly what they do, the chores, like beyond the chores that they do. Maybe I missed that. Like, what does he pay the kids to do? What are they sending invoices for?
Well, so like bring invoices on things that they come up with. Let's say they see, maybe they see that something needs to get done. Like now they come up with, hey, if I do this, my charge or my would be this, and he might be like, well, it's not worth that. I'll counter you with. So now you also get in negotiating, right, and seeing what things may be worth or valued, right? So it's kind of like they're creating an invoice for their work and seeing maybe how it works out there too, right? If you ask for too much, then you might not get hired for something, or someone's not going to take your services, right? So I think that's kind of how he's playing it also.
Yeah, I mean, and the whole thing about creating value, as opposed to just making money, you have to create value and making that connection. That's a huge opportunity for that building brain.
Gus is upset because I only give him the other type of videos to stir maybe controversy. But he's like, oh shit, how come I don't get this video? Well, Gus, I actually had it saved yesterday, but we just didn't get to it because whatever we were talking about yesterday got a lot of interaction and we didn't even get off the first clip. So sometimes that happens, right? But we can definitely talk about this too next week, Gus. I'd love to get your thoughts on it too. But Hyder does say, oh, Hyder, I'm excited to acquire a few more properties and implement my own HOA. He said once he gets his experience, I can share the pros here. Cool. Chris Webb says, yeah, this is exactly what I teach, value creation. Hyder says, yep, see a need, feel a need, get compensated. Yes, I think that kind of sums up also what's his name? I forget. Nick something. He's on. Yeah, I like some of his stuff, but definitely, yeah, it's something I've been trying to implement a lot more. But I do think there should be like a base of things that they're going to help out with, like that that they will get compensated for, right? Some base thing. But I also want them thinking too, like what else can I get more for, right? Like realizing that I almost kind of want it, realizing that if you want more in life, you're gonna have to do more, right? So like this is like your base that you might get, and after a while, you're gonna realize that shit, I only can get so much things with this. So now I gotta figure out how can I get more, or when I want certain things, I'm gonna have to figure out and provide value, right? So. But do you think there's an age where this should be implemented, or kind of how what? Yeah,
I struggle with that myself because it's like, okay, my kids are 7. I mean, I could kind of push them to do some entrepreneurial things now, but is that too early? I don't know.
I think there's always a way to implement it to some ways. The hardest part is not not trying to rush, I guess. It's almost like I feel like you just gotta let it happen in a sense where it may take them time to figure this out. Sometimes you're just rushing because you're like, okay, we gotta move on to the next thing, or
Yeah.
we gotta get something done. And then I think it's just realizing that, like how they say, right? It's almost like if you walk into your home and it's messy, it's because people are living there in a sense, right? Or you have a family, right? Or you have kids playing around, and so it's almost like you have to accept that the house will never be clean in a sense, or like or spotless, right?
Yeah.
So because it's kind of like we can do that, but it's now you're kind of like rushing things, like, okay, we got to clean this, and you start jumping in, but then you got to also realize that it's like, the kids are trying to figure things out. They're gonna stumble and make a mess and do this, and they may not do it the most efficient way in the beginning, and that's just part of it, right? So sometimes tasks you're not going to get all the tasks done, right? So I think that's the struggle sometimes, is finding that kind of balance of realizing that you're not going to get everything done that you maybe were planning for.
I mean, maybe it's TMI, but like one of the struggles that I have is I have two kids that are very much different, and one will follow directions and one will do the things that you want them to do, and the other one will resist at every point in time. And then when the other one's resisting and then doing crazy shit, then you spend time taking care of shit, and then the other one's getting neglected, who's following the directions. And so it's like they're on different learning journeys as well, so with some of these things, so that makes it challenging.
Hey, I do see Dion tuning in. Thanks for stopping by, Dion. If everyone doesn't know, he's moved his platform from Mighty over to School. So definitely, that is something. Talking about that, or maybe the initial or topic that we're talking about is I do it anyways. Is kind of, he was on Mighty for a while. People were talking about kind of just how funky that platform is, and not easy to navigate. And he kind of just was like, all right. And shit, I swear, like in 12 hours, his stuff was on School. He was just like, all right. And he's like, I'm just going to do it. And he moved everything over to School. So definitely, if you haven't checked it out there, definitely, School is a lot easier to navigate. So if anyone was wondering, you can also join Dion's School, and definitely more hands-on than the one rental at a time School, I would say. The one rental at a time one is a little more community driven, but Dion's one, definitely a little more interactive in there from Dion jumping in. Hey, Andy's here. Andy, I got to message you. I don't know. Are you going to be coming out to Pittsburgh next month? Let's see.
Can you bring up James's comment about Caesar?
James. Where is it? Oh, sarcasm, I guess. Caesar, Napoleon, etc. No one remembers their legacy.
Talking about how Brian was telling Zuber, no one's gonna remember you anyway. It's like, oh, well, there's people out there that still their name lives on.
Okay. Back to that. Yeah, Dion. So Dion, I know. I'm sure he watched the Ryan Pineda Zuber interview. I'm sure Dion is excited to maybe see Brian DeVille. Like I said, he supposedly communicates for Brian also, so it'll be fun to get his take on Brian DeVille on that whole episode. Chris Webb says, that is a tough question for parents. What if the entrepreneur aspect fails too early and they have an aversion for the rest of their lives? Or it succeeds beyond expectations and no always assume success? All right. When you have to write 2, Chris, that means you're writing too much. So that is yeah. No, it's always a tough question, I think, being a parent. You're trying to always navigate. It's like, how much do I let them figure it out, right? I think that's always a struggle for anyone. Brady does make a great point too. Got to learn to handle failure too, Chris. Yeah. Oh, that was part of it too. I don't know if you picked up on that part of that person's clip. What's your thoughts on paying them to do something scared or that they're afraid of?
Like beyond like household chores?
Yeah, I think he mentioned something like maybe it's trying riding a bike. Maybe they're afraid of riding a bike. I don't know. What do you think? What's your thoughts of incentivizing them, right, to or paying them a little bit to do something that they're afraid of?
I mean, I think it's a slippery slope. Like, I want you to do this thing 'cause I know it will be good for you in the long-term development of your brain and, dealing with failure. But then, like, okay, we're gonna tie all these things to money, and then I think it's a slippery slope to tie it to money. Maybe you can incentivize it with other opportunities and other
Mm,
things.
yeah,
I know you want to
definitely.
do this thing. Maybe when you do that thing, then this will get you this other thing. That maybe
Yeah,
it costs money, maybe it's an experience, maybe it's an event or whatever.
yeah. Like I definitely. It's like I said. It's always a struggle. Right? You're kind of torn in two directions all the time when money's involved. Like you don't want them picking up certain things, but you also, like you said, you want them to accomplish and try new things too, right? Or even things that that will be helpful down the road.
Hmm.
Josh does say, "Hey Dion, thanks for telling me about Kurt and Jen in Pensacola. Had a good time hanging with them yesterday. Oh, very cool." Dion says, "Paying kids for effort would work if we charge them for lack of effort." Oh yeah, I think yeah, there was another clip. I don't have it with me right now, but um there was a clip where I think how it goes, the person almost like the kid starts with a certain amount weekly, and things that they're not doing subtracts from that amount. So they're almost like getting charged for the lack of things that they're not doing. So it
Hmm.
also shows them if they're not putting in the effort, they're not going to get this money or get this. Um, uh, Harrison says, I agree with Joe. It crosses the line from being a parent to being a boss. Oh, but Lynn says that is a terrible idea to incentivize a child with money. Well, when you have a child, Lynn, then I would see okay, Lynn, so how would you incentivize them to do something that they're afraid of doing? So maybe she can chime in. Stephen P says there is no such thing as bad press. I think that's good Lord. Stephen P was probably, like I said, he's probably was trying to send this message a long time ago, but he says there's no such thing as bad press. I think that's what Brian Davila believes, and that's why he always disagrees with things that make sense. Yeah, absolutely. Going back to the Zura Pineda interview, yeah, Brian is definitely there to stir the pot. Absolutely. Um, so hopefully Lynn can chime in on how she would handle that situation. Like let's say like if her child was afraid to ride their bike or what, right? Or maybe even try sports or something, like go out to practice. Because I do see that quite a bit. A lot of kids, especially at a young age, right? They're definitely terrified to go out and try a different sport or play something. But we'll wait a little bit, see if she chimes
Yeah,
in.
I mean, like I had my boys doing kindergarten co-ed basketball for kindergarten, and one of them went to practice but didn't want to go to the games because he didn't like the color of the jersey, so just didn't play. There's no way around it. He didn't play. So at a young age, just like it is what it is.
The wooden spoon always motivated me, Janelle. Well, that's a different. Now we got going into something else, right? About disciplining your kids or motive, right? A different. And Josh says, I'm okay with paying for going above and beyond, but regular chores are just part of helping with the household. Yeah, no, yeah, that's what like I was saying. I think there should be like a base, right? That this is you're gonna get this maybe for certain like the kind of the base amount. But then if you go above and beyond, I guess he's saying that the base amount you shouldn't have to pay. Yeah, I think I agree with that too. There kind of should be certain things that just have to get done, right? These are your kind of basic things, right? Like even I'm sure your kids don't want to brush their teeth, right, and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
there's some base thing that hey, this stuff has to get done, right?
Yeah.
Brady says, I pay my son allowance at the end of the week. If he was good and did his chores all week, he spends it on Minecraft coins every week. Yeah, see, James Hill says, oh, oops, motivate them like my parents did with a belt. Holy crap, hold on. There's a whole bunch of stuff coming. Angel said, I pay my kids for pulling weeds and prep work for projects like digging trenches, clean outs, deep cleaning after tenants move out. Basically teaching them to manage a portfolio, landlord skills. Okay. Before I get Angel, I don't
That's
know, I'm
cool.
not sure how old your kids are, but I know it's not completely the same. But I think Dion has mentioned it before, maybe. But like Zuber talks about, right? Like he believes his daughter is not into real estate because of possibly showing her the bad side of real estate, like showing her the house hoarding and the crawling, crappy homes, right? And having to fix certain things and crawl through stuff and deal with shit. And that's why he feels like possibly she's not into um, real estate. So I'm wondering if Angel ever thought, like, by having my kid do these physical labor type stuff could possibly turn him away from wanting to get into real estate. I don't know. Curious. Jen says, I don't pay my kids for chores. I don't want to tie money to being responsible. Yeah, like I said, there should be a base, but I definitely would want them to think of ways that they can earn more money and this whole thing of creating value, right? So, Gus says, do parents still whip their kids' butts? That's a legit question because I used to, but I don't with my kids and learning different skills to get my point across. I don't know. Yeah, definitely I don't. I mean, I definitely want to at times, but but yeah.
I mean, if kids don't have cell phones, then I guess you can whip their butts out. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's a slippery slope too, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I know I got my ass whipped.
Yeah,
And I would just laugh. I would just laugh at my parents, and they hated it. They hated it.
Hyder says, my ass broke many a wooden spoon when I was a kid. Lynn says, it depends on the situation, right? Tiny steps. What is the child interested in? She says, oh my God, the belt. Okay, now I understand the audience. Harrison says, we did hard things as a representative of the family, and we are incentivized by the joy of facing our fears. We did hard things. So I think he's trying to say, and we're incentivized by the joy of. So I guess he's saying not paying his kid to do something that they're afraid of, and it should be as a family joy thing. Flavio saying,
I guess what he's saying is he's recognizing that and maybe praising those situations. Is that what he's saying, getting at with the joy part of it?
Yeah, but it's getting them to do it first.
Yeah.
That is the thing, right? Like sometimes it's like once they talk about being stubborn. Once they make their mind that they're not gonna do something, it's like fuck. Flavio says this world is changing how disciplining are teaching kids. In my days, I only needed a mad face, otherwise we'd be bad. Jen says I would be open to pay for stuff outside regular things like keeping their room clean. Yeah. No, yeah. Well, I think that should be a base way to pay for stuff outside regular things. Like, yeah, that's regular. Yeah. Keeping your room clean. Brady says, Gus, I don't do that, though that's how I was raised. I find with my son, it's better to motivate with things he wants, like spending time playing Minecraft with him. Far better motivated for him. Jen says, I did offer my 7-year-old ice cream if she tried a ride this past weekend at Legoland. Those tickets are expensive. Was that bad? Ooh, right? Because that's part of it too, right? Like you go on a trip, you spend this money, and then maybe they don't want to try something there, right? Like,
yeah.
So Jen, I would do that. I mean, definitely. Yeah, because I want them to experience it too. And sometimes you just need that nudge. And,
Yeah.
and I don't know, maybe there's a better way to do it. I haven't figured it out yet, but definitely it's it's like, hey, we're here. You want to experience things, so just and then So I definitely agree with Jen on that.
Yeah.
Gus says now, not I used to get whipped. What I mean, not. He's speaking Gussanese again, so I know not.
Oh no, I think in the previous post he thought people may have read it as that he used to beat his kids. But he's saying,
Oh,
I got beat as a kid.
oh,
Yeah.
oh, you understand Gussanese?
I read language. I read English.
Joseph's here. Joseph Kachupaya. He says, I bring my kids with me to properties pretty regularly and pay him a commission whenever I buy or sell one that he went to with me. Also the wooden spoon comment brought back some memories. So so apparently we all got whooped in our growing up. So it sounds like we're not passing it, or we haven't done that to our kids. That's what it sounds like. But our generation have dealt with that. So Frank says sometimes it just takes one good beating. Flavio says the worst thing I can do to my kids is taking phones away. Jen says we had wooden chopsticks and metal hangers. Oh yeah. Ooh, in Hawaii it's like slippers. And I'm sure you guys don't.
Metal slippers?
No, not metal slippers, just the slippers. You would call them flip-flops, but they're called slippers. Hey, Hugo's back. Brady says my dad broke a particle board on my ass once, and I just couldn't help but laugh. Made him so mad. Gus says, thank you, Joel. He says Mark does that on purpose. No, I didn't do it on purpose, man. But yeah, man, that's all I mean, that brought up a lot of comments all in a quick, but I got nothing else, man. Like I said, Gus will definitely maybe touch on this next week, that clip. But you got any final things you want to say, Joe? I mean, when you, so like you said, you went to Denver, you went to LA. I know you were talking about meeting up with Hunter in Greenville. But when is your next? Because not all the LA ones came out yet, right? I don't.
Yeah.
Came out yet, right?
The LA. There's some LA clips up, but the actual long form's not out yet. I'm still waiting on that. So, yeah, I still have a lot of work to do to get some more things lined up. So as of right now, things are still in process. Nothing official.
Hugo says the Trump administration is cutting illegal immigrants off from getting kickbacks from 4 major refundable tax credit programs. This is a move that could save American taxpayers an estimated $3 billion.
We need more of that. That's for sure.
Jason says a good beating goes a long way. Dude, that's just what Frank said. Yeah.
Dude, there was this time when I think I was like, I don't know, 15 and a half. I just got my permit, and my parents had left the house, and they went up to one car, and then my dad left because he forgot something, and like there was a Jack in a Box, I don't know, 5 minutes away, in this one little stretch of highway of road like connects like our neighborhood to the main road to where Jack in a Box is, and I'm driving up the street to go to Jack in a Box, which I don't have a license, and then my dad's coming the opposite way because he's going back to the house because he forgot something, and then we interlock eyes, and I continue to go to Jack in a Box, like I'm gonna be in trouble. I got my 2 tacos and a jumbo jack, came back and got my ass whooped. Got my ass whooped.
All right, man. Thanks for doing this, man. It's always fun. Like I said, I'll be back Friday with Emily and Chris Webb. And Gus, I think we will have Mo on with us next week. It was going to be, I'll try to figure it out. I know Mo and Ike are available next week, so we'll try to figure out what days they can be on. But everyone, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, Joel was definitely on time today, so it was amazing. But everyone, thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys had a lot of fun, and I'll see you folks on Friday.